We're back. This one should be working right.
Yes.
Let's see if I get the notification.
Hopefully. Oh.
Welcome to the vlog.
What? Look, now we can see.
We do have. It's there, but I don't know if anybody. Oh yeah, look, and it got our title in there and everything.
Nice. We're
okay,
back.
But are there comments? Y'all comment so we know if we can see them, because previously we couldn't see comments. We were logged into. Oh, there we go. What's up, R. Mitchell? Hey,
Yay.
you're first. Brooke Cole is second.
Cole. Hey.
Barbara. Okay. Whew, man. So when you log in on YouTube, you have your Google account, and then you have your YouTube account. And we were signed into just the Google account and not the YouTube page or whatever. We're seriously beginners in this thing.
I think Google Plus screwed that up a long time ago.
I think they did. I really think they did. So, how's everybody's Friday going?
Hey guys, what's up? Happy Friday.
Y'all are having a great Friday. Hey Jordan, thank you for the super chat. We love you too.
Oh, Jordan, let me just add that to the screen real quick. See, this is what I can do with this software. Whoa, not that one. Oh, where's
now
Jordan?
Where did they go? Okay, there you go. Add to broadcast. Okay, that's cool. Well, hey, Twinkle Star to you too. Hello.
Hey, Jordan.
Thank you so much.
This is
cool. Okay, yeah. See, now we got it going.
Let's make that.
I'm getting my nails on too, by the way. If y'all know me and my impressed nails, it's time for me to re-up them. They've been gone.
They are super impressive.
I've had them all week off, and I have felt a little bit naked, and I just want to get them back on because it's something that makes me feel good, together. And doing things that make yourself feel good is important, right?
Sorry, I'm just jamming out over here.
Sorry, I was referencing our earlier conversation.
What did you say?
I said doing things that make yourself feel good is important, right?
Very, very important. We're going to kind of talk about that.
No, we are not.
Oh, we're not?
That's a whole different broadcast for another channel. Y'all just hold on to your britches for that. We might have to make a new channel for that conversation. What's everybody doing today? Who's doing last 90 days with us and Rachel Hollis and the rest of the world?
Yes.
We can't
even move.
Cannot move.
Literally, couldn't even give you a hug earlier.
Yesterday.
I bet y'all can hear us way too loud.
Oh, sorry. Are we okay?
There we go. Now we're good. This is our mic. It was all red. It was all red. Oh,
Judy,
Holly.
you made it. What's up? Hey, Holly. Hey, Holly. You can't stay here at work. Love you, too. Thanks for stopping by and saying hey. I feel like I'm not giving y'all the attention you deserve when I'm trying to pick out the right size for my nails. See, the way these nails work is you get the ones and you pick the ones that are the right size for your nails. I just enjoy flicking the camera off on these live streams, apparently. Sorry about that.
So we've been doing the last 90-day challenge. If y'all been following us on Instagram and Twitter and
everywhere.
Where else? We haven't really talked about it on YouTube yet.
Yeah. It's basically about living the last 90 days as intentionally as a lot of people tend to live the first 90 days. So, when it's New Year and it's January and people are like, oh, sorry, I'm being really loud. And people are like, oh my God, New Year, new resolutions, time to go. Well, why does it have to be January 1st? If you go into the last 90 days of the year with the intention on being a better person, bettering yourself, then you go into the holidays ready, It was awesome to go into Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that not feeling just sluggish and oh man, all the cookies and all the candy. I did eat a lot of cookies last night.
Well, that's the mind game too. Part of it is I was starving yesterday, and I'm like, is my metabolism speeding up? I'm eating way more than I should, and then I'm like, I could eat a lot because I burned a lot of calories.
Gotta be careful with that mentality. But if you just a brief thing, we're not going to talk about this the whole time. But if you have any idea about what it is, so Rachel and Dave Hollis are doing this last 90 days challenge, and their thing is the 5 to thrive, which is the things that she feels are the most important 5 things to help you thrive in your life. One is drinking half your body weight in water in a day. So half, whatever, say you weigh 100 pounds, then half of that would be 50. So you drink 50 ounces or more a day. The other one is waking up an hour earlier than usual, which Cullen has stepped out on a limb and gone 2 hours earlier than usual.
Yeah.
You jumped right into it. So last year when I first started this, I just went an hour earlier. I'd been getting up at 7:30 when the kids did, and I started waking up at 6:30. And that was hard enough, but you're going straight for 5.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even, it was just one of those things that, and I'm such an impulsive person that I wasn't even really. This wasn't something I just thought of for the past like 2 months and like psyched myself up for, which is kind of the best way to do it. Just like with these daily vlogs we started, we just jumped right into it. Mm-hmm. But
that's how I started my weight loss stuff too. I like was just listening to a book, and it was a Friday, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
She sent me a Facebook video from Dave Hollis talking about it, and I was on my way to record a podcast, and I listened to it on the way over there, and I got out of the car, and I was like, I'm starting this tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just one of those things. So it's not too late to start. Y'all jump on board. I think yesterday was actually, we're on day 4, but yesterday was actually the actual 90 days. We started on October 1st.
Yeah.
But there was the way the year works out.
There's 31 days in October, and then there's like 31 in December.
If you start tomorrow, you'll only be 2 days behind.
And I actually didn't even get in on it, I don't think, until November last year, or maybe it was the middle of October or something. So, I mean, I didn't do it from the beginning. And I do have to say, I've only gotten to 2 of the 5 to thrive, but I do have to say that I have to be a little bit cautious with myself. Like, if I try to jump in and do every single thing right from the beginning, I will give up, because I tend to focus a little bit too much on perfection. So, like I said, I was like, I did eat too many cookies last night, but I'm working on one thing at a time. Like, I'm not going to let myself that get me down and be like, screw it, I'm done with this. Like, I still am getting up at 5. I'm still doing my workout, and I gradually work in different things.
Yes. Well, and we talked about that this morning. After I got back from the gym, she goes downstairs and does this 21 day beach body thing, and I go to the gym. But I talked about that this morning with her. I was like, I was not feeling it this morning. It's day 4, and my bed was so comfortable. And another book that I've been listening to is the 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. Mm-hmm.
That one will get you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there's a whole psychological reasoning behind that of why you count down instead of up, and like put your feet on the ground and shoot out of bed like a rocket. And I just kept saying to myself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I could probably count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 again, maybe. Let me check my tweets real quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I was like, no, just put your phone down and go. And I just did it. And then I felt so much better after I got out the door. But it was just one of those things where I was so sore from the past 2 days of going so hard that I went a little easier today.
But that's fine.
But as long as you
still moved
for 30 minutes.
And you still got up. I was so proud of you, because I seriously was like...
You could tell I didn't want to get up?
Yeah, I could tell yesterday you didn't want to get up. And usually, like, I will say, with things like YouTube and all of that you're super duper into, you're very good at, being consistent and carrying it out and whatever, even when you don't want to. But for things like that I feel like you will tend to, like, be hardcore, and then you're like... Yeah, but I just can't today. And then you just won't. But that's like so good to be able to push yourself beyond when you feel like you don't want to, because like Mel Robbins and Rachel Hollis and everybody says is like, you're not going to want to exercise. Like if you're waiting for yourself to feel motivated or feel like you want to, you're just not. Like you have to make yourself do it. There are some days that I want to, but for the majority of the time, I didn't want to either. But once you get out of bed, and I heard Mel Robbins say this several times in the book, by the time you brush your teeth, you're awake. Like you think you're not.
You told me that the other day, and I don't know if that resonated in my brain, the whole brushing your teeth thing from the book. Like you hear certain things, you hear different things, and we kind of talk about it. And like you said that 2 days ago, and then this morning I was like, oh god, because I'm known to like just get up and walk out the door and then forget to brush my teeth. But then this morning I didn't want to go anywhere, and then I brushed my teeth and I was like, let's go.
Yeah, it's weird. You like wake up and you're like, I thought in bed I was like dead. Like literally I'm not getting up. And I even, like yesterday, I went downstairs and like fiddled around on my phone. I was standing in front of the computer with the Beachbody thing pulled up, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And I was like, 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes out of my day, and if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, push play, and then you just go. And
I sat on the golf cart in the garage this morning. I was like, oh, do I have to go? I can still turn around and go back inside. And then I was like, no, just flip that B in reverse and go.
Well, and once you get used to it, because I started doing the 5 a.m. thing last year, And it's like, you realize you're not going to die. Like, I think I literally thought I was going to die if I woke up at 5 a.m. every day, or that my life would be over and it would be horrible. And it's just made things better. Like, you have some time.
And what's interesting is tomorrow's Saturday, and I'm going to do it again.
I'm proud of you.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm proud of you. I was expecting you to be like, yeah, I did it 5 days. Because I never did. I have not yet done 5 a.m. on a weekend. Well, actually, last weekend I did 5:30.
I say I am. It may be 6.
Don't break a promise to yourself.
Should it be 5 or 6?
You have to make your own
We've
decisions.
already said after the kids are like we're all gonna veg out tomorrow.
Yes, that's my plan.
Like after we get our workout in.
Because you have to rest.
Yeah.
But no, my plan is, because see, this is what I keep thinking about too. Like, I've started, the more you have like your why for things, the more you like are totally okay with doing them. And my why for this, like, I've had to rationalize it in my head for a long time. And I'm like, the kids, they know the difference because it's school day or it's Saturday and they're going to go play soccer and then they don't have to go to school or, whatever. But to them, they wake up at the same time every day no matter what. So they can either come down and I'm already awake and I've got things going, I've had a minute to myself, or they can come down and they can come straight to the bed and I'm asleep and they're like, Mommy, where is my milk? Can I get this? And let me tell you about how I'm a baby unicorn today. And I'm like, if y'all don't shut up.
Yeah.
But
it's helped being up before them and like having the scrambled eggs already cooked or having the breakfast already ready and like having a semi better routine as opposed to me being in my boxers all the time. Like, literally.
I mean, although I do like you being in your boxers all the time,
but it's just different. Like, I don't know.
Well, but I think like previously I've thought, which sleep is valuable, but you got to get it other times. But I've thought like, well, I deserve a day to relax and chill and sleep in. But then I'm actually like punishing myself later because then when the kids come down, I'm irritable and grumpy and it's not as enjoyable as if I was already awake. And then I can enjoy that we're going to have a slow, relaxing day, but I've already had some time to myself so I can let them ask a million questions and not just be like a bee because
Who lets their kids watch TV in the morning before school?
Wait. I'm just kidding.
That's something else we've
no judgment. We're just like we're working on different things.
You just see a different attitude adjustment or tone, mood, whatever.
I think we've noticed since Gaines was old enough that she would like want to watch Curious George or whatever's on PBS in the morning, and we'd let her lay in the bed so that we could lay in the bed longer because she is a layer in bed. In the morning, she wants to get up and she would come lay in bed with us and just want to chill. Brooks was born. Brooks started walking. Brooks started running, and then he never walked again, and he ran all the time.
Yeah.
And he wakes up, like, ready to go.
Yes.
So that ended the whole let's everybody just lay in bed for a few minutes. There's occasional times we'll do that.
Yeah.
But we started to realize that the mornings that we let her watch TV, she was just, like, irritable later.
Grumpy, like, still groggy, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then when we would turn it off or not let them do that, and now like the past week we've been saying get your clothes on before we do any type of playing or any type of and once you get your clothes on and you're ready for school, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And we got a whole nother brainstorming
concept
going with all this that y'all might hear about shortly, but
I think it's just
no screens at all Monday through Thursday. We've been cutting off the TV in the car, too, because that's been such a bad thing. Not bad, but I mean, it's just been like the very first thing. How was your day at school? Can I have some TV time? How's your day at school?
The TV's not on. My headphones aren't working.
How's your day at school, I said.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, quit thinking about the TV as soon as you get in the car.
But then I realized, like, this has been part of my whole mindset change, is realizing that the things that I continue to get frustrated about and feel like things that people are doing to me, they're not. I'm allowing things to happen. So, like, we kept being like, God, y'all, like, seriously, don't ask us every day. Why are you doing this? Why are y'all so obsessed with the TV? You shouldn't be obsessed with the TV. You shouldn't blah, blah, blah. And then it would switch to that. And I was like, how about we just make a rule that, like, we're not going to watch TV in the car anymore?
Well, then we've kind of flipped the script on that as well and made it more of a reward. TV time is something you earn, not just automatically assume you get. And I saw somebody say no tablets as well throughout the week.
We switched to that too about a year ago.
It used to be like, here's an iPad, be quiet, let me get my work done, or let me finish getting ready, or blah, blah, blah. And then the iPads are really just like immersive, like just getting just drowned in those, and then the ADD and the like really just watching 5 seconds of something, clicking on something else, 5 seconds, clicking on something else. So now we've got the iPads put up in there, and they haven't been out except when we go on road trips or like to a function that we know it's going to be a meltdown.
Like it's asking too much of them at like an adult thing to just sit around and not touch anything and not do anything. So, I think that makes it kind of awesome because then you can use it as a tool, as a reward that will actually help us. Like, hey, because you never get to see this, you're going to love this for like an hour so I can, be sociable and do these things and you won't have to be, whatever, which there's differing opinions on that. But I do have to say that when they started using the iPads the most, we were at a point in our lives when we DGAF. Like it was survival. Like I don't care. I cannot deal with this right now. There was too much other stuff going on. And, there's sometimes in your life when you have to do that. And there are times in our lives, like tomorrow, we're planning on, if they don't want to sit still, they can watch their iPads for like however long they want to, because we all need to just like sit and chill.
Yeah. It's been one of those, like we've actually talked about it. We were on the same page. And we're a team working together and stuff.
Yes.
I saw a couple super chats, and we'll jump to those at the end of the stream here.
Yes.
Congrats
to all of those of y'all that are commenting that you have lost weight or started new habits and patterns and things in your life. That's amazing.
I said we're going to jump to that. I'm just going to put this one on the screen. Thank you, Lori Nichols. And this kind of goes with what we were talking. Thank you so much for the super chat.
I can't. Can you make it white? I can't see it.
Let's see how do I edit this text.
Sorry.
Make it white.
Click in the middle of the circle right there.
Right there?
Okay, there you go.
There we go.
Save.
There we go. And I'm watching you live. I'm still clean. Congratulations on still being clean. 42 days clean now. I was about to say, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about, how in the past, when I first came out with my whole addiction saga, drama, whatever you want to call it, I was focused on going to the gym as much as possible and like sweating as much as possible and doing the work. And then it was just one day I was just like, I'm not in the mood. But I was in a different mindset still, like at that time.
Well, we both were, and I feel like
totally different.
Us kind of, I guess, going to what the title of this video is too kind of relates to all of that. But for real, awesome job, Lori. Great job. Thank you so much for the super chat too. But it kind of goes with all that in that I've seen people say, like, oh, my husband went through this and then, he got clean and then, I know I wasn't as supportive as I should be and now I was always up in his business and questioning him and blah, blah, blah. And I think some of it goes back to, as I've looked back on that time period and, at the beginning of things, obviously we're still figuring stuff out, but I had a lot to learn too about communication and how I was communicating and that my communication with you wasn't as good as it should have been and that I was doing some things that were harmful to your progress.
Yeah.
By, when you've been in a situation like that, you're always going to kind of be untrusting and question things and all that, but not handling things the way that I should necessarily, and a little bit more shame and blame as a way of communicating versus just saying like, hey, this bothers me, or hey, I'm worried about this, or, like our lines of communication between us have opened up so much more recently as we've learned to accept each other's thoughts and
totally
stuff.
Well, and we've been more on the same page as far as parenting and like talking about we've kind of mentioned this in the past. I think we mentioned it on the last stream we did about repairing our arguments and stuff.
You say we did, maybe we did, but I don't really recall that very much. Did we talk about that? Do y'all remember that? I don't know.
But I remember you and me talked about after one of my therapy sessions a couple weeks ago, just talking about things as far as like subconscious feelings that you have that physiologically happen underneath
recognizing your body signals and how they can get you worked up even if you don't intend to get worked up, I guess.
So you'll have something that happens or something that's said from a past childhood memory or something that you don't even realize is going on. The guy, this is like, I guess, are we getting off track here? If
No,
I talk
go
about
for
this,
it.
the
Go for
tectonic
it. Whatever
plates.
you want to say, yeah. It's fine.
So imagine your life being like the tectonic plates in the earth, and when things shift and move, it causes an earthquake, essentially. And so you've got these three tectonic plates. This is like your inner child or your childhood growing up, and then this is like your relationship now, and then there's another one of yourself or something like that. And so you're sitting there and you're getting in an argument with your spouse or your husband or wife, and something gets said, some trust issues happen, something's, parenting wise, you don't want them to go to timeout, or you don't want them to have a spanking, or whatever the case may be. There's something going on. So something from your past when you were a kid happens and starts shifting this tectonic plate over here, but you don't even realize it. And then over here, these other two tectonic plates start kind of moving around, and then something gets said out loud to each other, and then that one starts shifting right here. And then before you know it, the one that was way down here that you didn't even realize subconsciously was shifting is moving around. Then this one gets moving around, and then all of a sudden it's up here, and then
and then somebody says one thing, and that you blow up, and they're like, why'd you get so upset about that? Like, what in the heck is going on?
But when you are able to kind of visualize it like that, and then take it and internalize it, and really think about like your past. I mean, you got to go deep back in your memory bank, and like your what's the inner child,
subconscious,
or your subconscious,
mind, unconscious. One thing, I was doing some like psychology, continuing education stuff, and they were talking about how like 90% of our emotional responses or whatever are like subconscious. I'm looking for another word too. I don't know, like unaware, you're unawake, asleep, awake, whatever. Anyways, you're not consciously thinking about them, and you make those decisions or say things based on kind of what you know. And there was something I shared on Instagram the other day, and I will pull it up and tell you all exactly what it said, because it's probably better than the way I would say it. But it said, your children are watching your marriage, your tone of voice to your spouse, and your intimacy with your spouse. Set a great example of how marriage is supposed to work. And I quoted that and said, you can realize how true this is when you replace your children are watching with, as a child I was watching, and replace your with my parents. So saying, as a child I was watching my parents' marriage, my parents' tone of voice to each other, my parents' intimacy with each other. And that's kind of, people don't teach you, like, I mean, unless you go to all kinds of things, but still you learn more from watching other people. So people don't teach you like how to be married and how to talk to your spouse and how to communicate. You kind of just do what you saw. Right. And I don't think any parent ever intentionally teaches their kids negative like communication patterns. But if you have negative communication patterns with your spouse, then that's how your children are going to communicate.
Yes.
And
like honestly think about, who do you tend to portray more, your mother or your father in your family? And like, or who do you like think that you're more like, or have the same attributes? And then you'll kind of start to recognize those subtle patterns, and it's just kind of going back to that quote as far as the like intimacy thing. We were talking about this in my session. Like, intimacy is not really something you are taught as a kid. If anything, it's something you're kind of pushed away from, I would say, in a sense. I mean,
I think it depends on the family. I think it's hard for us to say, because,
well, I mean, okay, for me personally, I would say, like, if there was a show on HBO that came on or something, or MTV or whatever, or a movie we were watching, and there's like a naked scene, we were always told to like close your eyes or move the other, walk out of the room, or
which is appropriate,
it's a normal
to some
thing,
extent.
based on your age and stuff. But from that young age, you start learning that, being naked is bad, or you're not supposed to kiss, and my parents weren't real filially touchy necessarily, and when they were, you knew they were in a good mood and you were going to have a good day. And that was so relieving and so mentally helpful as a kid when life was stressful, I guess. But like, yeah, so it's just one of those things, especially with my dad. My dad was not an intimate. He was called the Gouda man because he portrayed because he.
If you don't know, Gouda is a fancy type of cheese.
Yeah, he brought cheese and wine to my mom in their first date or something, you know. So he was like a romantic, I guess, in that sense, but he wasn't like intimate or emotionally intimate, and that's your like love language is physical touch and emotional connection and stuff like that. And I wasn't taught that, and so it's like I never realized when you're like, I just wish you would do that, and I'm like literally trying to explain to her, and we've gotten some scuffles about it in the past and stuff, but now that we both understand in our Enneagrams, we talked about that on the last stream, but yeah, it's just that communication's there.
Well, and better. I think as in a way too, that kind of taught you, like you said, that things were. She watched
90210. That's how she learned intimacy.
Oh, geez. I think it kind of taught you in a way that like that intimacy or like closeness or touchiness or whatever maybe only occurs when you're in a good mood, and that's, you know, other than that, you're not necessarily touchy-feely. And I don't know. I think it's kind of like you learn these things and you don't really know. Your parents didn't intentionally teach them to you. You didn't intentionally learn them, no. But they come out. And I just saw somebody comment and say, too, it can also, watching your parents can also teach you what not to do. Mm-hmm. And I can say that that's true, too, because, you know, as a kid, I'm sure everybody has moments where your parents did something and you're like, when I'm a grown-up, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to make my kid go to their room, you know, all those dumb things. Yeah. But you also see like, oh, man, I don't like when my parents fight like that. So when I grow up, I'm not going to do that. But then you naturally do it. Like you naturally, even though there are seriously times when I say something to Cullen and I'm like, God, I shouldn't have said that. That was not nice. And I shouldn't say it. But it's like I have a tendency and like am trying to get past this and take full credit for it, that this is not how I want to be, of being shaming and blaming as a way of trying to express that I don't like something, because as a people-pleasing person, I don't want to say, hey, I don't like it when you blank, or hey, I wish you would have, or it would have really helped me if you had unloaded the dishwasher instead of leaving your plate on the counter. So instead I'll be like, well, you left your plate on the counter again, you never put your plate up, you know, like shaming you. Or
well, like Gaines the other day asked about the app. You like came out and said that to me the other day.
Yeah.
She said, where's the remote? And you caught yourself and was like, I don't know, your dad put it, I don't know, let me look for it.
Yeah, you weren't here, and I was like,
and
where is it?
And it just puts a negative connotation or a negative persona on me when I wasn't even here. And I could have put it somewhere.
Right.
But even if I did put it somewhere, it still makes Gaines inadvertently have that same feel towards me.
Right.
And vice versa.
Well, because when we left, Gaines and I gone to gymnastics, then you and Brooks went to soccer. When we left, I knew you and Brooks were watching TV. And so I was like, I don't know, Daddy put it somewhere, it never gets put. And I was like, oh my gosh, why am I saying this? Like, it's not about whether or not he did put it somewhere. He didn't maliciously hide the remote from me. We have never discussed, hey, make sure you put the remote back where it goes. And so the appropriate thing to say would be, I don't know, I'm looking for it. Let's see if we can find it. It doesn't matter who put it somewhere.
Right.
And I think in an effort of when you don't feel good and confident in yourself, you want to blame somebody else for something that you can't do right. Like subconsciously, I'm not thinking of this consciously, but like I don't want her to think, oh, Mom's dumb and she can't find the remote. Like, so I'm like, oh, Daddy put it somewhere.
Yeah, you know? Well, and I feel like there's been, after we've gotten in an argument or something, and me and Katie are talking about it afterward, I'm like, I don't know why I was like that, and that reminded me of my dad. And that has like literally come out of my mouth. Like I felt like my dad when I was saying this or talking like this and yelling and being loud and not what you want to do. I mean, you know, like because as a kid I was like, I'm never gonna yell like that, or I'm never gonna talk like that. And then like you just see it, and the more you like dive into it physically and mentally.
Well, and I think the hard part is seeing it and not knowing how to fix it, because that's been your model and that's been what you've seen, and that's where therapy and listening to different books and podcasts and exploring, which the most recent therapist that I'm seeing that we went to see a couple times started doing like family of origin work. So looking back at your parents, your grandparents, these grandparents, what was the situation with their children and your aunts and uncles and, whoever else, and seeing like where did some of your patterns come from. And as you like literally lay it out and look at the family genealogram or whatever it's called, you're like, oh crap, this came from here and this came from here, and whoa. And then realizing that one of the people I've listened to before talks about how this is not you, this is your programming. That's what she calls it. And it's like, if you find yourself going, I don't like this, I don't want to be this person, well, you don't have to be, and you may not be that person. You may be programmed from previous experiences in your childhood and whatever else to respond that way.
Yeah. Well, and all that,
and you can change it.
You can. All that to say you can change it, and to say that the way you were programmed isn't anybody's fault. I mean, because they didn't have the internet and the resources, or maybe they had the resources, but there's just it's so hard to explain. Like,
no, I think, like,
you know what I mean. Like, you don't want to blame your parents for the way you are.
Well, because we didn't realize what we were like inadvertently doing to our children until, we started learning things because of this. Like, if we didn't have YouTube as our job and we were doing something else, not having all the connections with the people the people that are saying, oh, hey, y'all are going through this, read this book, look at this person, check out this page.
Facebook group.
I'm like, how would we have ever known? And we would have just kept on being like, well, I guess this is the way it is. And when you start recognizing your kids doing the shame and blame thing, like, Gaines was trying to play soccer with Cullen outside, and she was trying to be the goalie or whatever. And so Cullen kicked it. Brooks walked outside, and Gaines looked over, and so the ball goes in the goal. And she started crying, and he's like, "It's okay. You just next time you'll block it." And she was like, "Well, Brooks distracted me because he walked outside," which that is true, but just the way it's framed is like, I'm like, God, we do that all the time. We blame it on, well, the cat tripped me, or the cat,
well, even, I mean, in certain cases that's true, but like, it's been a noticeable verbal difference recently.
But nobody intentionally tries to put bad habits in anybody, but it's that's why
like the number one thing is to focus on yourself, because everybody's broken in some way or shape or form or whatever. But another thing is, we may have mentioned this too, or I talked about it on the podcast, of the way to listen and accept your feeling, or your kids or your spouse's feelings, which is something. Or how do I word this?
I don't know what you're going for.
The day Gaines was just crying, and you were like, in the past you've been like, it's okay, calm down. It's okay, calm down. Telling your kids to calm down is something else that I've been like, because that's all my dad used to say was, y'all just calm down. Y'all just calm down. Hush, hush.
Well,
just calm down.
It's about like validating
their feelings. Thank you.
And what has made me realize that as much is realizing that that's one thing that was causing so much stress between me and Cullen, because I would say, I'd be upset about something and express it, and he would try to. I mean, naturally, you make an excuse if I'm like, well, it hurt my feelings when you blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I was just trying to yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, but it hurt my feelings. Well, and then it turns into an argument, instead of like, what I need to hear is, I understand that hurt your feelings, and I can see how that hurt your feelings. I'm sorry, because I feel like he's kind of just, brushing it off. Like, well, you're stupid that it hurt your feelings because I was just trying to do this. So Gaines I don't even remember what she was crying about, something. And
like wanting to
wear kids cry about,
or
I
not
don't
putting
know,
on her tutu or her leotard before.
She didn't want to put it on before I don't remember. It was something
crazy.
And so like I caught myself being like, Gaines, it's okay. Like you need to put it on when you get there. That's just how it is. And she's like, but I don't. And so we're in this argument, and I'm like, okay, wait, validate her feelings. It seems like that's making you really upset. I'm sorry that upset you, and I wish there was something I could do about it, but it was time to go, so we had to go. I hear you that you're sad, and I understand that. And she literally was just like, yeah, I am sad. And then moved on and dropped it.
Didn't
And I was
try
like,
another drop.
whoa, she just literally wanted to know that I got it. Like, that I understood that she was sad.
Well, and I think that's the going back to your Instagram that you reposted, or regrammed or whatever, was modeling the behavior for your kids. And a lot more recently, somebody comes in and they're upset, and I'm like, oh, you're not, that didn't hurt.
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
don't tell them it didn't hurt, because it may have hurt.
Right.
And kids are in a total different mindset. Like, something that maybe they're maybe hysterical about a book that fell off the bookshelf, I'm like, that's not a big deal, but to them it is.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
instead of not necessarily, you don't have to understand why they're freaking out, but if you just go in there and say, looks like you're upset, is there anything I can do to help? That validates their feelings, and then they feel like you're emotionally attached and connected with them, versus, oh, stop crying about the book that fell off the bookshelf, it's okay,
It's just
pick
a
it
book.
up. It's just a book. Like, well, you'll find another one, we can do something else. And now, though, I've noticed in the past week or two, every time Brooke stubs his toe or something, Gaines goes, oh, buddy, it looks like you're upset.
I know that really hurt. I'm sorry that hurt.
And it's just like, you see it, you physically see it in your children, and that's when you know, like, things are on the up, I guess.
And he even was like tearing up something the other day, and it was his, and she was like, Brooks, that's your picture, and so you can do whatever you want to with it.
She drew it specifically for him.
She did. It was the sweetest
thing. And he went
thing.
over there and just started beating it with a
Well, he appreciated it first. This was after school, so he came home.
And he was just going ham on it with this toy. And I was like, what is he doing in there? Because it sounded like he was just ripping stuff up. And she looked over there and she's like, Brooks, I know that's your picture. But then I felt bad because I was like,
yeah.
What if you worked really hard on something? Yeah. But she was being the bigger person.
She
saying,
was.
I drew that for you, and I gave it to you, and so you can do with it what you want. But and then afterwards,
then I jumped in and screwed it up because I was like,
not really though. But I mean,
I did say, Brooks, let's think about how that might make Gaines feel, because she spent a lot of time drawing that picture for you, and if you're just tearing it up, then how do you think that makes her feel? And he was like, not good. And it's like, you just be respectful of something somebody drew you. If you want to tear it up, then whatever. I don't know. That's a hard thing, but I think just the whole like being respectful of other people's feelings, and I don't know. Okay, wait.
I'm gonna go to Claudia here.
I was gonna say that.
I needed to hear this today. How can I make my husband to be on the same page and want to change?
I have a whole podcast on that. I just did last week.
Claudia, you can only worry about yourself.
Yes.
Do what you need to do to find out what happened in your childhood that made you the way you are, that made you want to think you can get your husband to be on the same page as you, and then kind of start back at that process, and then work yourself up. Trust yourself.
Yes, I have my podcast is literally called "What to Do When Your Partner Won't Change or Get Help."
Yeah.
If you go to Katie on the Flip Side on any of your favorite podcast apps, you can find it.
And you have to go into it not expecting to try to change,
right,
or get your husband on the same page.
Right.
You have to literally do it for yourself, and then see what happens. And I want to hear how it goes.
Find yourself and what you want, and in doing that, you may realize that their way of living is not what you want, and maybe it's bringing you down, and that might be a bridge you kind of have to cross.
Leslie says, I don't want to talk about things, I bottle it up. Me too. That's how I was. I mean, I still am sometimes, and until recently I've like mentally had clarity on things and just want to open up about it. And I don't know. It's hard to even say that I like to bottle things up, because I've like been so open on YouTube in the past with certain
But then
things.
We wouldn't talk about things. A lot of things on YouTube are like, for the first time we've talked about them. Well, previously. I feel like now therapy. We're doing a better job of that, and I've been very proud of you lately talking about it. But I think some of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it's more, I think, you who has previously not wanted to talk about things, but I can relate to the things that I don't want to talk about, is that you have some insecurity about whatever it is, or you don't trust yourself, you don't feel confident in yourself, you feel like you're dumb for having the thoughts you do, And the more we've learned, the more we've come to understand like thoughts and opinions that people have or ways that they want to do things are just thoughts and opinions and ways that they do things. There's not one right way to do things. And who are we to judge that somebody else feels or thinks a certain way? Like, you may not agree with them, but it's okay that they think that, you know?
Like, you may change a diaper one way, but that's not the only way to change a diaper.
Well, and it used to be like,
but
I
it was
would,
my way or the wrong way. You're
shame
doing it wrong.
you because I thought like literally my way was the only way to do stuff. And so I was like, no, you have to do it this way. But somebody, what was it, in the marriage therapy podcast or whatever, they were saying how, what did they say? There's, oh God, they said something like the other person's something about the second way to do something, the second best way to do something isn't wrong. Right. That's what it was. Yeah. So like just because somebody else does it their way, that's maybe the second best way to do it. The second best way
to do something isn't the wrong way.
Yeah. So that really changed my perspective. I was like, what? I don't know. I feel like some of the stuff that I'm saying, if I'd have heard it 2 years ago, people said it to me like, what does it matter if he loads the dishwasher a certain way and you load it the other way? And I was like, but it does matter because if the spoons are touching, they're not going to get clean. But really, because it doesn't actually matter. Like, there's so many things I feel like lately, like literally don't actually matter.
It may get on your nerves a little bit because you were programmed that way. Kind of going back to what we were talking about. And, you know, you were trained that way and you grew up folding or doing your laundry that way. But at the end of the day, it's still the second best way. And
I think for me, though, it's been helpful seeing your, like, change in perspective. It's almost like with me not being on you about things, you kind of have to take responsibility for things. And so I'm more trusting of the way you're doing stuff because I'm like, oh, I feel like you're actually thinking about what you're doing. Where, I don't know, and maybe that's just my change of mindset too, versus just being like, screw it, I don't care. I'm just going to like throw the whole pizza in the dishwasher and see what happens, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like us understanding each other and knowing that we're on the same team of you're not intentionally doing something to piss me off. I don't know.
Okay, that brings me to another point that we've recently been working on too. It's so interesting. We've been working on like 10 different like water bottles of just stuff. We got this water bottle that's labeled with stuff. We got this water bottle that's labeled with kids and emotions. And then we got, and every week we like step through a different one, not intentionally, but just because.
In different weeks, we fill them up with different juice and water bottles and whatever from the different podcasts and things we listen to, and we're always picking a different water bottle to work on.
Right, but this you were just talking about. Shoot, now I forgot which water bottle I was in.
How your maturity, you're doing things a certain way, throwing the whole pizza in the dishwasher, and then you looked at something right here.
No, I wasn't.
What was he thinking?
But yeah,
you said we're working on different things. I feel like I'm just trusting you more that you're actually thinking about stuff and doing it. It's gonna come to you. It's
right there. It's right there. It's right there.
While we wait on Cullen to think of that, you want to see my nails? I just finished them. How do they look? Yay! I did the accents. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do them today. Did you want me to leave it on the same comment? No, I can scroll down. Okay. Anybody remember what Cullen was thinking about? Anybody? Oh, Tony, what's up, yo?
Like, shoot, a monkey.
Dang, it went away. Your husband hates the way you fold his clothes, but at least you're folding his clothes. Okay, so here's the thing. If he hates it, stop folding his clothes. He can do that himself. He is perfectly capable. I stopped doing Cullen's laundry not long ago. Sorry about that.
It's actually glorious. I love it because I love like just throwing it all in together and not worrying about getting in another laundry argument.
Yep. If there's something that continues to be an issue, then you set some boundaries on it.
Shiitake mushrooms.
You still can't think of it? Do you want to step out for a minute and think?
No.
Do you need to step out? I want you to say what it was.
It was just something about like
it sounds like it was
being on the same page. Oh,
got it. There it is.
Being on the same team, and how
I knew it's gonna be good.
Recently, whenever in the past, whenever Katie or whenever I would start to discipline the kids or something, I would automatically, in the back of my mind, and y'all let me know, I saw a bunch of comments about the iPads and stuff earlier, so that was interesting, but y'all let me know about this too. Whenever you start to discipline your kids and you start saying something or doing something, do you kind of like look over your shoulder for validation from your spouse or for help from your spouse? Like, you start to say something to your kids like, don't do that. If I tell you one more time not to do that, you're going to go to timeout. And then I look at Katie, I'm like, is that right? Is that good? Yeah. And she goes, yeah, Brooks, you're going to go to timeout. Gain, stop doing that. And I'm like, yeah, let's get them. But now, that's detrimental, I think, in the whole parenting process as well, from what we've been learning about. We're in that bottle this, 1 week. That's where I got distracted. But now it's like we've learned to not jump in and save each other in those times. So something will come up, and it's so hard too, because I'm like, where's Katie? Did I do that right? Did I say that right? And I'll catch myself telling them not to don't say calm down, say use self-control. You need to use more self-control as opposed to calm down.
Or direct them to what calm down means. Instead of calm down, be like, let's not jump on the couch. Why don't you go over here? Or,
right.
Like whatever the behavior is that you need them to calm down on.
Right. Like you can use scissors cutting paper, but don't calm down running with those scissors. How about we go sit down and here you go, cut with the scissors this way, or something like that. Like actually use the. Or
they're getting all excited about going somewhere and they're running around like, ah! And we're like, y'all calm down, just calm down. Then maybe a more appropriate thing would be, I know y'all are so excited and you want to just yell and scream. Why don't you go outside and run and yell and scream and get that energy out? Or, go jump on the trampoline or something. I know you're excited, and that's something else to do to get your energy out,
But the biggest, I think, takeaway in all that is being on the same team. And that's something that we've learned is you feel like you're on the same team when you're like or you're overlapping in the whole like, yeah, do what he says. And I'm going to blah, blah, blah as it's happening. But lately it's been like, we'll be in the kitchen, Katie will be over here cooking, and she used to like be doing her spaghetti. Yeah, don't do that anymore, with me. Yeah. But now she just doesn't say anything, and I'm able to handle it myself, do my thing, and whatever I decide. Now we've talked about like what we think is beneficial and all that kind of thing as far as discipline goes, but whatever I decide is what I decide, and and vice versa. There's nothing. And then there's been times it's kind of funny because we'll be like, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have jumped in right there, sorry. And then we'll like leave, and go do whatever we're doing. But just being on the same team is that's the thing with a relationship. A lot of times in the past it's been like a competition between who's going to parent better, who's going to change the diapers better, who's going to do this better, who's going to do that better, who's going to be the better dad, who's going to be the better mom, as opposed to and who's going to be the better husband, who's going to be the better wife. And it needs to be like
I think
together.
I think in the past, and something that I like feel really bad about and working on getting better at, is the whole like the rescuing thing has been a big part of the codependency recovery. You realize how much rescuing is enabling in so many ways. Rescuing as far as like jumping in and being like, yeah, y'all stop. Daddy said to stop. Then that brings in a whole other component. And then that also makes you feel like you're not doing it right. Even if I am like validating what you're saying or saying the same thing, you're like, well, shoot, she must have thought that I couldn't do it by myself, that I wasn't good enough. And that affects your confidence. And I feel like I was always making you feel like, nothing you did was good enough if you didn't have my opinion. So you were questioning yourself and like, I don't know if you can like go. Hey, can they like jump on the couch? Instead of
and
me
your kids see
you,
that weakness and they jump on it even harder because they're like, oh, she doesn't really know.
Right. So like not rescuing and being able to trust that you like it goes back to the second best way to do something isn't wrong. Just because I hear you say something and I'm like, oh, I don't know that I would have told them they could do that. Like, you're in charge like that. I'm not even in there. So what's it matter?
Yeah.
I mean, there are times when I'll be like, hey babe, I just told them they couldn't have any candy and then you gave them candy or whatever. But
and there's also been times in the past where we get in an argument because of their argument. Like, the kids are doing something, I'll say something, you'll say, but they did this, and I'm like, why are you coming back and trying to parent what I just parented? And then we start arguing, and then they get even more. And so, yeah, being on it's like, it's hard. It's hard to comprehend. I mean, y'all are all old enough to know what we're talking about.
Most of y'all are. By the way, real quick on the comment that I saw about you made a bagel and then your husband called and yelled at you because the thing went down his shirt or whatever, and you said, "Is this off topic?" No. You go, because she
what
said, I made my boyfriend a breakfast bagel for work this morning at 5 a.m. He called me on his way to work and yelled at me because the yolk from the egg went down his shirt. Guess who's sleeping in from now on? And that, good for you. Like, you did something that you thought was nice for him, and I can't say that something like that wouldn't have happened previously in our marriage. That's like the blame game of being like, golly, you made me this bagel and it went down my shirt. Like, oh my gosh, that is not your responsibility. You did not do that to him. You know, like, the problem, the thing is that those kinds of things, I'm like, that's when something like that happens between us, I start going, okay, what's the underlying issue here? Like, we obviously have some communication issues or some whatever that need to be addressed, because those little things have changed because of our big changes. I think.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, sorry, you weren't irrelevant, and you sleep in. Don't you make him another bagel?
That's funny.
Anyways.
Or do, and just make it even messier and see what happens.
See, there's the difference in our ways of handling things. No, because that would be passive aggressive, and we're working on not being that either. So,
but would it not be passive aggressive to, like, stonewall and put up your guard and say, well, fine, I'm not making you another bagel?
Well, I guess if we're going to talk about the actual appropriate way to handle it, would be to say, you know, it really upset me that you called and yelled at me about that, because I wasn't intentionally trying to get something on your shirt. I made you a bagel. And so it like, I didn't like that. I didn't like how that felt. So, you know, you can make your own breakfast. I don't really think there's any need for me to make you breakfast anymore. I mean, I don't know. But I think
I'll be glad. I mean,
I don't know. I don't even know how to.
I would be glad to make you another bagel. I would just suggest maybe next time being a little more careful with it when you eat it.
I don't no, because then you're telling them what to do. Okay, here's the thing.
Suggest,
maybe don't even bring the breakfast thing into it and make it about because it's not actually about the bagel, to be honest. It's about the fact that somebody shouldn't talk to you like that. So you can have your boundaries and say, that really hurt my feelings. I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. And you know, feel free to like call me back when you have calmed down, because I'm not going to sit here and let somebody talk to me like that. Yeah, you know, like you have.
See, there's the comments like take the yolk out, make it back, but you shouldn't have to alter what you're doing. Like,
you shouldn't go out of your way to do something that he's perfectly capable of making his breakfast. If you really enjoy making his breakfast and that's something that you like to do, say. You know,
like that may be her love language, acts of service.
Right. So I really enjoy making you breakfast, and I made it with all my heart, and I didn't appreciate the way you talked to me. So, you know, I would love to keep making you breakfast if that helps you out, but if not, then, you know, make your own breakfast. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the expert on this. I'm learning myself. But I just do know that now that it's okay to say, I don't like the way you're talking to me, and we don't have to, I'll continue this conversation later. So.
You know what you could say? You could just say, turkey and dressing, no stressing. Oh!
Make him a turkey sandwich for breakfast.
Quit stressing.
On another topic.
Yes.
What do y'all think about these shirts?
Some new fall merch.
Yes.
Real quick, I'm just going to throw this up on the screen here. We got
I'm
some
so
t-shirts.
Excited about these. I think they are so cute.
Got a little kid t-shirt there.
There's a kid one. There's that top middle one is the women's slouchy neck one, and like it's a little. If you're interested in that one, just a little FYI, I would size up in that, because when I ordered it, it does fit a little smaller, and I was expecting it to be like big and slouchy, and it's not that unless you order up.
There you go.
There's a hoodie. What do y'all think of those? Do you like them?
I'm digging the hoodie. I can't wait to get the hoodie in and wear it. But y'all be sure to check it out. It's teespring.com/turkey and dressing.
Yes, those are our new fall shirts. I think it's so cute. Cullen thought of the slogan. I was like, I really want to do a fall shirt. I love fall so much. What can we put on it? And I was like, happy fall, y'all. I mean, I don't got nothing. And then he came up with that, and I thought it was just so cute. So
anyway, I thought that was a little segue there. Don't stress about the turkey and dress. They might get on your shirt, because at least you got a shirt.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, there's long sleeves, short sleeves, kids hoodies, all this. Somebody else had a scenario.
I have a 4-month-old and husband.
A 4-month-old, and then your husband lets your 4-year-old come climb in bed with us in the middle of the night. I keep telling him no, because then the baby doesn't have room to care for her. So basically it's kind of inconveniencing you because you're trying to take care of the baby, and then that gets all confusing. I can totally understand that. That's a hard one, because different people have different opinions on like
sleeping in the same bed and stuff.
Guess I would say if it was us, it would depend on what is it that he like feels like the 4-year-old needs comfort and blah blah blah. Maybe it would be helpful if he feels the 4-year-old needs comfort and somebody to sleep with. Maybe it would be helpful for him to take the 4-year-old to a different room. This is probably not a great question for us, because we don't let our kids sleep in our bed.
Yeah,
so.
From day one, it's been kind of a.
That's kind of our.
She nipped that sleeping pattern in the bud with the.
I just am so obsessed with sleep being important.
With the what were they? The miracle suit.
Oh yeah.
And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the shirt.
But I would say having an open communication. I think that's kind of what we've learned, is that there's not necessarily a right answer, but kind of understanding like why is he not respecting that you're saying no? Like, what's so important to him about the situation? Like, why does he feel like the 4-year-old should, and why do you feel like they shouldn't? Like, maybe the communication hasn't been totally open. So I don't know.
Talk about it.
There you go.
Talk about it.
Yes. How about some super chats? Snow Dogs Vlogs. Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Thank you for the super chat. We have known them through the internet for forever. Wait, where did it go?
Sorry.
I didn't get to read
I
it.
thought I could have more than one on the screen.
I don't think
sorry.
you can. We'll go one at a time. Back that thing up. Here we go.
Gone to the Snow Dogs, right? That's
yeah,
the same,
yeah. I think they changed it though.
Snow Dogs Vlogs.
Snow Dogs Vlogs now. Yes. I just wanted to say I've loved watching you guys through the years. I love all the new things you're learning and sharing along the way. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate that so very much.
I still see you around on Instagram and stuff every so often. It's like, dang, that's been like Tallahassee days.
I love their dogs. They're so cute. I think there was a video last night of the dog got the little husky got a bath or something, and was running around crazy like Ada does.
Y'all go check them out. Go check them out. Let's see. We need to give Ada another bath.
Yeah.
Speaking of which.
Good luck with that. She hates it.
Okay, super chats. Where's the other ones? There's a couple more.
Yes, sorry. We do try to hold the super chats till a little bit later so we don't totally lose our train of thought.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Beth, for the super chat.
Where
are
from
Pounds.
Is that a Europe or France?
Or is it Euros?
Euros or?
Sorry, I'm so uneducated.
And then Laura Beth Schmidt.
Heading to Tuscaloosa on the 19th. Hope we run into you at the game. Hattie said I want to play with Gaines. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cool that y'all are coming to Tuscaloosa. Are y'all coming to the Alabama game? You'll have to let me know. I want to say we might be at that game. I can't remember. The 19th is in like 2 or 3 weeks, something like that.
Thank you so much.
3 weeks. Yes.
Whoa.
Thank you for the super chat.
That was awesome.
Man, we got to talking today about stuff.
We could keep going on. Y'all
we could.
Y'all let us know which water bottle y'all want us to be in next time.
Yes.
We have a lot of them.
We have several. We have lots of different water bottle things that we're working on right now.
There was another one that we were going to talk about, but we didn't want to.
I'm not ready to talk about that.
And
I don't think it'd be appropriate on this channel. I would be interested in feedback from people though. Cullen, stop. I'd be interested in feedback from people though on, I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter, but like I just feel like this channel is kind of more family friendly-ish stuff. I guess the stuff we talked about isn't like related to younger people, but I know there are a lot of kids that watch our channel. So basically what I'm saying is I wouldn't want to put anybody in a weird situation of sitting down to watch this with their like 5-year-old, and their 5-year-old is like, oh, what are they talking about? You know, so y'all let me know if you want to hear that here or in another location. We both have podcasts. I have another channel. And
it'd be weird for me to talk about it with my sister, if you get what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, that's true. So it probably wouldn't be a good place to put it on your podcast. I feel like y'all probably have talked about it on the podcast before, but...
Well, not in the same sense that we would talk about it. And,
right. Yeah, but I feel like with some of these things, like what we're talking about today, because we were talking about this topic that Cullen wanted to talk about earlier, and I was like, I used to feel like let's talk about it on YouTube because I know I'd get your true feelings. But now that we're able to communicate with each other more appropriately, I feel like we need to talk it out first so that we can kind of know how each other feels. Because we've been married for 12 years and there's literally stuff we talked about this morning that we've never talked about in our marriage that's like vitally important to your marriage. And we've never talked about some of it.
It's crazy. Just
because, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff we're learning about each other lately. Like, marriage is serious, interesting stuff.
Yeah. Yes. You missed a lot, Sheila. Go back and watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Just focus on thinking about where you came from, who you are, who you want to be, and who you want your kids to be.
Yep, absolutely.
And who you want your kids to see every single day.
Right.
Y'all don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And we'll be back. We got some fun football footage from last weekend that we're going to post this week and next week. I mean, y'all have a good weekend.
Yes.
And we will CYO TFS.
Catch you on the